We don't mean to say that. We don't. Sometimes men really do have horrible timing with things.
All the time implies there's no hope. We want to make our relationships better, not worse.
Well, when girls are called daddy's girl, it's not as offensive
We don't
as it
care.
is mama's. We don't
don't
care.
care.
And you don't need to say that. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Fascinating Womanhood channel, where we talk about everything that has to do with developing femininity and building strong, long-lasting, loving relationships. I am Cherry Lynn, and I am here with my mom, Dixie Endel Forsyth.
Hi, we're actually here together.
So today we wanted to talk about 15 things that you should avoid saying to your husband or boyfriend. We actually weren't planning to film while we were together, but we started to talk about this, and we started to have a genuine conversation about how some ladies just maybe accidentally slip and say things to their husband that cause so much damage, more damage than they're realizing in their relationships.
Yeah, and sometimes men say things that really hurt us because they don't know. They may be emotionally clumsy. Maybe it's the experiences they had growing up. We just don't know. But the problem with saying these things, and there's others too, is that they don't help and they will hurt your relationship, which none of us wants that. We want to make our relationships better, not worse.
So these 15 things that we came up with were some really classic things that we hear all the time, and they're things that we hear and we go, ooh, that was a bad one. And it tends to spiral into other problems.
A lot of times ladies don't know how damaging some of these things can be to men. And these are not all of them. These are just some.
Just the most classic ones. And we are also going to provide alternative things that you could say, because the goal here isn't for you to just not say anything and just bury everything. The goal is for you to learn some alternative ways to express how you feel and what you're thinking. So the first one is, you're a coward.
Well, we went through these with Bob, who's here too, and we really picked up on the ones he cringed the most on. And that was a big one because that insults a man's feelings of competency, masculinity, and it's important to them. If you ever tell a man he's a coward, that's really invalidating, and it can hurt him for a long, long time. He may never forget it.
Yeah.
Even if you say it kind of casually once and you don't realize the damage that you may be doing.
So the alternative to you're a coward, and this is probably a situation where he may be showing some hesitation or fear towards something, and you might say this as a result of that. So instead of saying you're a coward, you can say, I believe in you.
Yeah.
I believe that you can do this. I believe in you and who you are and your abilities would be so much better.
Yeah, because you also may misunderstand him. When you say you're thinking he's a coward, his motivation to do or not do whatever he did may be motivated by something entirely different that you didn't see.
The next one is, what were you thinking? Has to do with a scenario perhaps where he has dropped the ball, made a mistake of some kind, and you are thinking to yourself, what were you thinking? And you say it out loud. We've all probably been there and we felt that way, and that's okay to feel that way, but what might be better to say is, we all make mistakes. It's okay.
And first recognize that it's a mistake. It doesn't mean he's stupid.
And we're not talking about the kind of mistake where he whoops, I had an affair. That's not what we're talking about.
No,
we're talking about the everyday mistakes. Like, what were you thinking? Like, you bought this instead of this at the store.
Yeah,
what were you
I told
thinking?
you to buy this brand, and
That's
you
what
bought
we're
this other
talking
brand,
about.
and I already told you.
Yeah. So we all make mistakes. It's okay. Or I forgive you or something. The next one is, do you still love me? This is the one that Dad came up with, and he really wanted that to be on here. And I think this is a good one because women do want to hear, I love you.
With their ears. They want to hear it.
They want to hear it, and if we don't hear it, we get worried, and we tend to say, do you still love me? Like, it's just something that we do.
Now the reason,
but don't do it.
The reason it's bad is because if he says, yes, I do, it feels hollow because you've gotten him to say it rather than it's spontaneous from him. And it feels manipulative. It doesn't work for us, and it doesn't really work for them either. So
the alternative to that would be, and again, Dad came up with this one. I know you love me. And then maybe you could proceed to...
It's actually kind of cute and kind of spunky too. I like that.
And if you really are wanting that affection from him, I know you love me, but... The next one is... Do you want a divorce? Or things need to change or else I'll leave or something like that.
Used almost casually, like a threat, but you don't actually mean it. Like mothers when they say to their kids, we're leaving now. If you don't come, I'm leaving you, knowing that you're not really going to leave them behind at the store.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. When you casually mention divorce, the threat of, if this doesn't happen, if things don't change, I will divorce you, plants the seed. And it's not good. It's not helpful. It's a lack of trust that your relationship can endure, unless, of course, you're seriously meaning it, that you're going to.
If you actually do want a divorce, that's a whole, we're not talking about that. It's about, we're getting into an argument, maybe things haven't been going so well. Do you want a divorce? Like, that is a very serious thing to say.
It is.
Stay away from that word. Stay away from I need change or else I'm leaving. Like, stay away from that unless it's really, really, truly at the end for you. An alternative to that would be, I really want to work on a relationship, and then proceed to a discussion about the commitments that you are willing to make. Perhaps it goes into something more serious, such as therapy. I'm not sure, but talk about solutions rather than accusations about where your relationship is headed. The next one is you're not that strong. I could beat you up. Those are kind of the same. Or that guy could take you in a fight.
Again, that goes to a man's masculinity, his core strengths, and you're undermining it. And some women say that kind of in jest, but there's a barb to it. It isn't funny, and it's sarcastic.
Men need to be strong, even if they aren't really that strong. They still need to be strong, and men are still stronger than women in general. Anyways.
Yeah.
Let him be strong, even if maybe you feel like some things you're stronger with. I don't know. I think there's some women out there that are really strong, and they want to be stronger than their husbands. I'm not saying it's bad for women to be strong. Just saying, don't invalidate his strength.
Well, let's say it's something physical, like he's been in a car accident and he is compromised and been in bed, and you physically are stronger than him. Don't rub it in. Don't tell him that he's not. Oh, you're not strong enough, so I'll have to get the next door neighbor to do this because you're not strong enough.
Or if he truly isn't strong with something, like if he's shoveling the driveway or something and he's doing a bad job, you don't need to point out that he's doing a bad job in relation to like his strength, and it's really going to wound him. And he won't forget it. Instead of saying something about that, focus on his courage, because courage is a form of strength. So you could say something like, I love the courage that you show when you do A, B, or C, when you go to work in the mornings, or the courage you show when you talk to these difficult people at the car place or something. Just focus on the courage that you see in him. The next one is this is in the context of, we hear ladies sometimes say that their husbands are perhaps focused on other things, maybe ambitious with work, and they're too tired to do something fun after work, or they're perhaps showing some tendencies of like just shutting down and not wanting to kind of like have fun. We hear this a lot.
Well, he could be kind of feeling low. He could be struggling with his self-esteem.
All kinds of things.
Hiding out,
but the result is us misunderstanding it and quite genuinely being frustrated that you don't get to have some good times maybe that you used to have. And so instead of saying that, saying, I miss having fun with you. I would love to go do this with you. When is a time we could go do
Yeah,
this
I would
together.
love to do this or this with you. Could we do that? Or if he can't that day, say, how about tomorrow or next week?
Or maybe the boring thing is because he plays it safe. I've heard that too. Like he plays it safe and he never likes to take risks. Again, admiring the things that he does well. Maybe he doesn't take risks, but he's really careful with things. And you admire that about him.
Yeah.
Men are so stupid.
That one's pretty easy to me because
You don't need to say
if we
that.
flip it around, we hate it if we ever hear men say women are stupid. Nobody likes to be told they're stupid, especially if your whole sex is stupid. That means there's not any hope for any of us. So
I think women fall into this one a little bit when they see something ridiculous happen. Maybe they see something on TV or a movie or on the news and they think, oh my gosh, men are so stupid. Oh, God bless them. I've heard that.
Yeah.
Oh, men, like those kind of things. These are all kind of similar. And instead of saying those things, you could say something kind of cute and say, I'm so lucky that I am a woman. I'm so glad I was born a woman. My daughter sometimes says that.
Yeah, that's where we got that. It was from your
She says, I'm so happy I'm a girl.
When her brother does something.
When her brother does like things that she would not be interested in. Or you don't really have to say anything. You don't have to say, I'm glad I was born a woman, but that could be something you could say that's kind of cute as an alternative to men are stupid, because we don't need to say that.
No.
The next one, we hear this a lot. We actually know someone who was told this. You're a mama's boy. You're such a mama's boy.
Yeah, well.
Why don't men want to hear that?
Because it implies they're a child, that they're not strong. Again, it's the masculinity.
It's the strength and the masculinity.
And sometimes women say it because he does have a lot of respect for his mother. And in some cultures, respect for one's mother comes over respect even for one's wife. They respect their wives more or less, but they make first attention to their mother, maybe their mother and father, and then their spouse comes down. And some of that's cultural. But
well, if you truly have a guy that is going to mommy for everything, that's a whole other.
Even then, you shouldn't call him that.
You still shouldn't call him mama's boy, but we're talking about those kind of everyday things. Maybe he sided with his mom or something, and you're upset or you're irritated. Instead of saying that, an alternative would be, I admire how much you love your mother, because it is a positive, even if he really is a mama's boy, it is a positive that he loves his mother. If it goes beyond that and it's going into this problem, that's another video. We can do a video on that.
Well, first of all, if you're saying mama's boy, boy is more immature than man. And so it implies he's immature. So it's just not a good thing to say.
Well, when girls are called daddy's girl, it's not as offensive
as
it is mama's. We don't care
as much.
The next one is, you need a body makeover. This is the worst. This is actually the most common in the whole list.
Oh.
And that includes things such as, is that fat or muscle? Or you're so hairy. Or you're so hairy.
I can't stand hairy men.
Or you need to go to the gym. Like, don't pick it. This all has to do with physical appearance. And I know that some guys don't take care of their appearance. Some women don't take care of their appearance. But the point isn't to nag them until they do.
It doesn't work.
Don't say anything bad about
it. It hurts your relationship and it doesn't work. So just eliminate it. Yeah. Because, and this one, again, is easy because we don't like to be talk to like that either.
If he truly is neglecting his appearance, there's nothing you can do to force him other than guilt him, and that might work, but it will still cause resentment.
About his appearance, he may have low self-esteem, and there's things you can help to build him up with that.
He may not know how. He may be in a rut and he doesn't know how. There's so many things that could be going on with this one, but just try not to say that, and instead say, you can even say this to yourself. You don't have to say it to him if you are struggling with this. You could even say, I love his eyes, I love his hands, I love his hugs, and then say it. It's great to say it. I think this starts with what's going on inside of you. I have to say, like a lot of the ladies I talk to that are struggling with their husband's weight or their health or their appearance, It's starting inside. It's not enough to just say, I love your eyes. You have to really believe that inside.
Well, yeah, everything you say to your husband needs to be sincere.
You can't just be like, oh, okay, I watched this video the other day and it said not to pick on his appearance, so I'm going to make sure I say I love your hugs. But that's not what it's about. It's about really loving and thinking about, you know what, I really do love his eyes. I really do love his hands. I love his shoulders. You have to get your mindset in
what you love about it physically, because there's always something that you can find.
The next one is... Oh, cook it yourself.
Now,
we went over this one for a long time.
We both heard this one.
We couldn't decide what to even say as an alternative. This one we talked about the longest, but we do hear it a lot. Cook it yourself. This is in the context of perhaps him coming to you when you're either busy, tired, or doing something else, and he's hungry. And you say, cook it yourself. Go make yourself something.
It's usually said when a man doesn't feel entirely competent in the kitchen, but not always.
Yeah.
In the case of Bob, he doesn't even know where stuff is in there. Even though we've lived in that house for 30 years, he doesn't know where everything is. He doesn't know what he dares to eat that I haven't planned for another meal.
You don't say this because it's
sarcastic.
We're not saying that men can't cook. It's just about saying, I'm not willing to do that for you because you're not important enough to me and I'm busy, get away from me. And it's just, we don't mean to say that. Sometimes men really do have horrible timing with things. They ask for food and you're like, I'm in the middle of this. So it's
maybe nursing your baby.
Yeah. Oh, I've had that happen several times. So what we think is the best alternative to that would be, there is A, B, and C in the kitchen for you. If you would like any of those are ready. Or you could grab this. Or if you want to wait for me, I'm in the middle of something.
I'll be done in such and such.
And that's it. And, if he doesn't get that message or if he's upset about it, you can take it from there. But don't say cook it yourself, get it yourself.
And when we were talking, you said something I thought was good. You said with your husband, you're always thinking when you're at the store of things that would be quick and good for him. You're always thinking about his food. And I am too. What would he like if he is hungry, snacky, whatever? And you get those things and have those things on.
It depends on your husband's competency in the kitchen. My husband is incredibly competent in the kitchen. So if I say all those things are in the kitchen for you, he's got it. He doesn't need me to make it. But there's some men out there that literally can't even make spaghetti. Like there's men out there that don't know how.
Bob can't make spaghetti.
There's men out there that can't do that. So it's about being careful not to insult that about him. And you're the one that knows how, he doesn't. So therefore saying, hey, I have this in the fridge. If you have a husband like that, you need to be thinking about at the grocery store having things ready for him that he can grab, because it's not about him, you being his mom. It's about you thinking of him and being thoughtful enough to be at the store and say, hey, I want to have these things ready for him just in case he needs them.
Well, again, if I wanted Bob to help me with something and he just said, do it yourself, that would hurt my feelings.
Yeah. I know sometimes my husband's not really sure where things are because he doesn't spend a lot of time in the kitchen, and just reminding him this is in the top shelf, this is here, he feels like, oh, okay, I know what to do now. And it's just another way of saying that you love him in such a small.
Yeah.
Your brother or friend or whoever is hot.
Or even a movie star.
Or a movie star. Boy, that guy's hot. Commenting on someone else being really attractive. This is really tough. I know some relationships are different and they just talk about these things, but we would suggest you not comment on other people's looks, especially if you think they're really attractive, because it's disrespectful and you don't need to say that. And honestly, the alternative on this one is to just not say it. Because you don't need to.
If you see a movie star you think is really attractive,
just don't.
It implies that you're comparing, and you don't want to do that.
If he asks you, do you think that this person is attractive? I think it's okay to say, yeah, I think so. But don't offer it up and mention it. It's just disrespectful.
Bob has sometimes asked me about a male star. Do you think that man is attractive?
Yeah, my husband's done that too.
Because he wonders if I think they're attractive, and I'll say,
yeah. No.
Well, sort of in a manly way, or I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't really think about it.
I wasn't really thinking about it, yeah.
Yeah, I just think I wouldn't want that. My husband doesn't comment on other people.
I've heard some men, when their wives are kind of flat-chested, they comment on women who are not, and it's kind of invalidating.
Yeah, it's sad. The next one is, do you ever do anything besides play video games all day long? Or a sub-bullet of this would be something along the lines of, don't you have any career ambitions? Why is that?
Well, again, it's invalidating, and we talked about this before. Sometimes men have done things like that when they're kind of trying to figure things out in their life. Now, some men really do have a problem with video games. They really do. But again, saying that is not going to work. It's not helpful, and it's invalidating.
You really can't do anything about, especially if it's an addiction kind of thing, you really can't do anything about it. And this could turn into a whole other video, but we did want to bring this one up just because we do hear it a lot. You go up to him and you say, you're lazy? Aren't you going to do something else today? And it's just, you're being his mom, and it's never going to get you what you want anyway. So don't say it, and you're going to wound him by saying it. So instead say something like, I miss spending time with you. I would love to go do this with you. Is there any way we could go do this together? Mm-hmm. Distract him away from that thing if you can. If you can't, and it's a serious thing, then we could get into another topic with that. Yeah. But for your everyday kind of, you're lazy, don't say that. Just say what you want to do with him. Mm-hmm. Be specific.
Be specific.
The next one is the word hate. It's okay to say that you hate mushrooms, but it's not okay to say, I hate you.
No, don't ever say, I hate you to anyone. Maybe there's an exception if somebody is a criminal that's hurt you or something like that. But even then, it doesn't help. They don't care.
Try to stay away from the word hate, especially when it comes to your husband or your boyfriend. Mm-hmm. Just stay away from it. Instead, you could say something along the lines of, I am so hurt. I am frustrated with you. This is frustrating. This is hurtful. Mm-hmm. So much better.
I feel so bad. Focus on yourself and your feelings rather than blame on their, because they'll always become defensive. You can just count on it. So it means it isn't helpful.
There's something really severe about the word hate that sticks with you too. Yeah. Just stays with you.
Especially if it's a loved one.
Yeah. The next one is, we're just using this as an example. Since you didn't pay the credit card bill this month, I went ahead and bought myself some new things. So we almost turned this one into a blank situation. Since you didn't do blank, I did blank, but we wanted to give you something really specific because this one happens a lot. It's like a scorekeeping system. And not only are you keeping a score with him, you are letting him know that you scored. And a lot of this tends to relate to tasks.
You're using an excuse, something you want. You're using what you perceive as fault on his part to give yourself permission to do something you know he wouldn't approve of on your side.
I cleaned the floors and I did the bathrooms and I did this all while you were watching TV, so therefore I'm going to go do this. Like we fall into that a little bit as women. We tend to scorekeep and we don't do it on purpose, but try not to say that. You are putting him down, and you're not going to get anywhere by saying it.
It doesn't work.
If you want him to help you, which I think that's usually the root of this, is you actually just want his help. Mm-hmm. Tell him you need his help. Did you remember to make the credit card payment? It's that easy. You don't have to say, well, I went ahead and did it because you didn't do it, so therefore I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Just ask him. Be more specific.
Hey, I was wondering, did you remember to pay the credit card bill?
And if he didn't, that's the best you can probably do.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, that's due on this day, and I just wanted to make sure we had that covered. The last one is, why are you so negative all the time? Why is that bad?
It's a judgment. All the time implies it's a constant instead of something that, why were you so negative today? All the time implies there's no hope. And that's another real criticism of a man that kind of gives him no way out.
Well, you're also kind of giving him this feedback that you don't like being around him and that you're annoyed with him. Mm-hmm. And maybe you are, but that's not going to help him feel supported by you. You really want to try to always in your relationship support your partner, whether you mean to or not. I hope that would be your intent. And an alternative, if you really do feel like he's being negative, is to say something along the lines of, "Are you all right? You seem down.
You seem down.
How can I help? Is there anything going on that I can help with?" Just saying something more supportive rather than, "Why are you," it almost sounds like you're complaining if you say, "Why are you so negative all the time?"
So when a man's in his downstairs of his mind, which means everything is kind of colored with negativity, that means he needs to get upstairs, which you can't command someone to go upstairs. It actually makes it worse.
Right.
So you encourage them to do it by, "Are you all right?"
Mm-hmm.
Or you say, "Would you like to do such and such?" I know my brother, he always lightens things up with something humorous. I can tell when he's trying to get me in a different mood. He says something funny. Telling him he's down there or he's always negative makes it worse.
Yeah. That's all of our list. That's the 15 things that you should never say
And
to
there's
your
more,
husband.
but those are the
There's
only
more.
ones.
Actually, you know what? If you have another one that you would suggest, drop it down below. We would love to hear more. I'm sure everyone would love to hear each other's things. Like, I never say this. I stay away from this.
Yeah.
And if you want to learn more about Fascinating Womanhood Principles, you definitely need to grab Dixie's book. I'll attach the links to purchase her book to this video, along with all the places to find us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we have several places that you can connect with us. If you would like to subscribe to our channel, that would also help us grow, and hit like on the video if you like our content, and then you'll know when we have a video that will come out next time. You'll get a little pop-up the next time we have a video. And we're here every week, so don't forget to check back with us next time. See you then.
See you then.
Bye.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.